Alrighty guys, hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today is another my Scooby Doo stories. Last time we were talking about the summer vacation story with Red Herring and Shaggy's father and all that stuff. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. This is what it looks like if you want to find it. And today, we're talking about my next Scooby Doo series titled The School Scares. The School Scare Volume 1. Now this one, the first episode is called The Scary Library. I don't know what the reference was to it. Basically, on the thing it says, on their first day back to school, there's something lurking in the library. So this basically was the introduction to the book. Now, the book that this livered librarian is saying, don't go to that book, or if they go to school, they get their first class is like a library or whatever, and the librarian's like, don't go open this book, don't touch the book, don't do anything with this book. And so, that's because when you open up this book, a bunch of ghosts come out. And so, yeah. That's basically what happens in this first one, and then Shaggy gets involved with this Amy girl. Amy Ghost, which was in the book, and so what her thing is that she tries to foil the plan of whoever opened up the book. Because people that open up the book is always a bad person. So now this next one is called The Hunting Games, a reference to the Hunger Games, and so with the ancient archer. So basically in this book, while at Daphne's first archery competition, something comes to crash the competition. So basically in this one, Daphne is the target of this book, and then it's like, and then Shaggy's all talking to Scooby, like, man, I didn't like what last night was, and then the gang throughout this book is trying to tell Shaggy that it was just a terrible dream and that nothing is ever real. And then at the end of the book, Amy is like, no, this is serious, you need to believe me. And so he's like, oh crap, you're real? Oh my gosh. And, yeah. Now this next one is called Scares Lounge instead of the Teacher Lounge. I feel like I'm very creative with these titles, and so the book starts off with Shaggy having a nightmare, and actually, class gets canceled because of a monster attack. So the gang go investigate. The scary thing is about that it's just sitting in a corner, and and Scooby got the job as a hall monitor. That's what we figure out. So that's how he's at the school. And then this episode, Scooby gets taken by the terrifying teacher, and then by Mr. Oscar. Like, yeah, let's go, everyone's gone. So, someone needs to do something better than the other two. Oh yeah, and then the mystery figure is like, we need to do something better. No, someone needs to go out there and be better than the others have been. Now this next one is Scooby Doo Computer Crypt, like the crypts, I don't know, inside of computer chip. Velma's computer class is interrupted by a creepy computer thingy. This basically is just, is Gibby controlling, and then, yeah. And then, yeah, the monster couldn't go out further than the school, and, maybe, but, yeah. The person is smart. And this is when Amy's like, so Fred should be next, and maybe, but I don't know if the person is that smart. So how do we figure out who the person is? And then this is when they're like, oh, I'll go I'll so you could follow the ghoul that leaves the person right after. Yeah, this is when they're like, oh, you can follow the ghoul that leaves the person right before they're unmasked. And next is not Fred. That's like volume 7 in Fred's text, but whatever. This one is called Phantom of the Play instead of Phantom of the Opera because we're in high school and it's our final year. So they're doing Romeo and Juliet for their play. The gang goes see Daphne in a play as it gets interrupted by a phantom. And what the cool thing about this phantom is that it has a sad side, and then it also has an mad side. And see those wires? Those are the wires that they got the monster. And then in this episode, or in this book, they're all in different types of wear. And then this is when we go into when Amy followed the ghoul back to the place and figures out that the mystery man is the principal of the school, and he controls the students along with all of the ghouls. And then in this one, she's like, oh, I'll go get Shaggy and all that. Like, who? Let's get Shaggy next, said Frederick. And Frederick is Fred's father, and so Fred's father is the cause of all this. And then the archer said, who's Amy? And then they catch on to her scheme, and so they're like, we need to get Shaggy now. And so then they'll like, because we can't have him catching on to our stories or whatever. And then there's an food eating competition where the monster attacks him at the eating competition. And then they find a bracelet or whatever, and it has a bee on it, and then they trap the monster, and then Amy's like, yes, and then Amy gets back to Shaggy and it's like, it's Fred's father, and then the next one. Wait, no, I gotta read the description. While there's an eating competition, Shaggy's title gets compromised as a monster scares him off. Now, in this next one is the Fred won the school's monster instead of the school mascot. I'm just having fun with these titles now. Fred's first basketball game gets interrupted by an angry mascot monster. So in this one, Shaggy goes to confront him in at the game, and so he's like. So he goes into the place, and Frederick knew he was coming, so yeah. And then Shaggy's like, you gotta close the book, and then Frederick's like, I'm never gonna give up my power over these ghouls or whatnot. And then the mascot attacks and it's like, well, do you want to confront me or save your friend or whatnot? And then the gang have been catching on to Shaggy's weird ways, and so then it's like, what? But that's not why we're here. We come to care to explain. Well, I invited you here to talk about Shaggy, and so they start catching on to Shaggy and how he's acting different in ways, and because he went to go talk to Fred's father and didn't tell the gang. And then in this next one is their senior project. As the gang start doing their senior project, two brotherly ghouls scare the crowd away. And so in this one, they're doing their senior project. They're setting up for their senior project. They're doing a little rock concert senior project. And then they start singing, what's new Scooby Doo? What's Ruby Roo? Only Roo. He knew I was coming. And yeah, he tells Amy that he knew he was coming. And then they go to the day of, and the monster, the ghost attack. And then they find some powder that was the thing. And then and goes, don't make it obvious that we're investigating him, okay? And then, what? And then, and then this whole thing at the end, them talking about Shaggy and Frederick again. And then this next one is called Trip to Terror Town. Don't know why I named it that way, but the gang go on a field trip that gets swampy when a swamp monster attacks the bus. Meanwhile, the gang try to unravel the bigger mystery. And basically they run into a swamp monster and they're trying to get away from the ghoul monsters, and then oh yeah, in this one it was like in this one he was like, oh yeah, it wasn't my fault, it was your fault for telling him I was coming, so you suck, I hate you. And then in this one they resolve their problems or whatnot. And then I found that thing just rip, why just like I actually don't know. Something just told me to. Yeah, like the ghouls just kept going into the people, and they were like, I was just told to. Yeah, Shaggy, we know something big is happening. How about you tell us everything? We'll believe you. Come on, kid. Monsters here and other. Like, I'll tell you on the way back. And then they confront Shaggy like, we know there's something big going on, so how about you tell us what this big thing is going on? And so then he tells them on the way back to school. This one, a night at the school. As the gang go to the school after hours to confront Frederick, the ghouls start showing up. So in this one, a night at the school, kind of run on with Night at the Museum. So the boys are going to the school to try to confront Frederick, and then the girls are going to get the book that was at Velma's place. And then they drive back, and then the ghouls are all just floating there, and then there's two teams. There's the ones protecting Frederick, and then there's the team that are going out. And then the people that are out is the Phantom, and then there's the cook chasing Scooby and Shaggy, and then there's other ghouls, and then they lead the ghouls out so then Fred can talk to his father, and then he closes the book. And then at the end he closes the book and returns them all to the thing, and he was like, Frederick's whole thing was like, he wanted him to be away from his friends so that he could be focusing on basketball and all that stuff. And then he was like, well, if you like mystery solving with these people of yours, then I guess I have no right to keep you away from them. And now, the next one that I've been working on is called Summer Camp. And it's when they go to summer camp and they become camp counselors. And I'll talk about that in my next Scooby Doo Stories, my Scooby Doo Stories. So yeah, if you guys like this video, please have a big like down below. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Peace. And I like making 10 books. I might even make more after the college creeps. I don't know. But yeah, doodles.